Hello, long time no see. It's probably a week. Okay, so this is the format of the video. Number one, I'll update you on Flynn's health. Number two, I'll show you what I've been working on knit-wise and crochet. And then number three, I will show you a mishmash of clips and pictures that I have taken over the last week. Because even though I wasn't making videos, I was trying to. It's just that this last week has been kind of hard personally, Flynn health-wise, and every time I started to make the video, I almost started crying, and it was just, I don't want to cry on the camera. I don't want to see that. So, overall, I will tell you, in general, in regards to the bone marrow transplant, we're still waiting. That's pretty much what they said. I just checked with them the other day. We're still waiting. We're waiting. I guess it takes a long time for Maddie's bone marrow to make it into the right place and take root and send out its recipe everywhere, and for Flynn to start making those cells. According to his main BMT doctor and her partner, we still have waiting time. And it may even be weeks. So that was really frustrating. I'm trying to do this so that you don't see a glare in my glasses. Or I could maybe just take them off. That was really frustrating because I don't know if you guys know this. It's Friday the 8th. And I would like to go home for Christmas. Ooh. Okay. So that is overall the basic outline. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the camera for a second. My eye is itchy, and tell you the next part. Okay, so last week Friday, I believe, Flynn was really tired, and that I think was the first day that he really stopped eating. Like, he started throwing up when he took his medicine or when he took food. Then Saturday morning, he woke up and his back hurt. And like I said, I have that iPad where I can look up his daily test results because they take them at 4 a.m. And so I was looking at that, and two of his numbers for the BUN, the B-U-N they call it, and the creatine or the creatine, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm not a doctor, were really low or high. I don't know. The numbers weren't good. And so that morning, they were saying that his kidneys were acting up. Those numbers signified that the kidneys were having problems. Maybe I'll put it like that. Okay. So, they right away gave him some morphine, which I felt was a little dramatic. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like morphine is for like, I'm gonna die, but whatever. They gave him a little bit of morphine. They called up a kidney doctor. They called in an ultrasound. And of course, I do have pictures of the ultrasound and all that kind of jazz. Again, remember, I'm putting those at the end if you want to see these random clips. And so basically, he was under distress for last week. Remember, today's the 8th, Saturday and Sunday. And that is when they were trying to figure out why were his kidneys acting up. What was making them, unhappy? So they settled on, after a couple days of hemming and hawing and pushing fluids, that the methotrexate, one of the chemotherapy drugs that they were giving him, had built up in his leg. Now, if any of you are new and you're like, what are you talking about, Summer? Flynn has lymphedema, so one of his legs is much bigger than the other leg, and that's because the lymph fluid does not leave his leg. It gets trapped in his leg, and we have to do things to try to get it out, which is the whole reason we found out there was something wrong with Flynn at the beginning to need the bone marrow transplant. So they did not accommodate for the fact that some of the fluid that would accumulate in his leg would contain the methotrexate. And so it kind of hung out in there to a point where he got, even though they were giving him safe levels each day, not all the methotrexate was making its way out in his pee and poo. Some of it was hanging out in his leg. So he kind of got to an unsafe level of methotrexate in his system. Now, since then, of course, they've started, well, they don't need to now, but since that day, they started recording the amounts of methotrexate in him. They stopped giving him methotrexate. Luckily, that was his last dose that Saturday anyway. And they started flushing his system, meaning they were giving him bolus, which is 2 or 3 bags of fluid much faster than their regular drip. And they increased the amount of fluids they were pumping through his system. Because apparently the kidneys will, the more fluid they keep pumping through them, the better they'll go. And they said it wasn't permanent damage, it wasn't debilitating by any means, that the kidneys just weren't going to, they needed to be continually flushed with lots of fluid to keep them working, so they didn't take a break, and all that fluid and all that working was going to repair them. Now, I'm not a doctor to know how flushing your system with lots of fluid keeps the kidneys healing, but it does. Okay, so it does. And sure enough, probably by the 5th or 6th, they said that Flynn's kidneys stopped releasing or making high numbers in bun and creatine. They were back to, and we're gone on 2 days now, I think, of them being working like they should, back to the right numbers. And so I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared. Seems a little bit extreme to give them morphine. And of course, through that whole time, Flynn was very lethargic. Asleep most of the day. He was having back pain. He didn't want to get out of bed. They were giving him morphine. He wasn't eating anything. And anytime they woke him up to give him his pills, he threw up. And that was very stressful for me because those 2 pills that he was giving that he has to take are very important. They're for his liver. And for whatever reason, they don't have any liquid IV form of them. They have to be given orally. And with him throwing everything up, that was making, obviously, taking those pills fussy. Because Flynn's a normal human, and he knew that every time he took those pills, he'd throw up. He didn't want to take them. Now, coming out of this 5 days, I think it was 5 days of kidney problems, extra fluids, kidney doctors, throwing up every time he tried to take his pills, not eating anything. He finally, if today's Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, he finally started eating some food. Minimal food, but some food. Couple bites of things here and there. And I think yesterday was the most he's eaten in 4 or 5 days. He had a couple mini corn dogs, like maybe 4 of them. He had some apple juice. He had a Jell-O. He had some nuts, pistachios. And so his, in general, health is on the mend. However, we're still waiting for the bone marrow transplant to take root. So that is what was going on all those days. And yeah. The last of it, which wasn't yesterday, I want to say it was Wednesday morning, when Flynn woke up, he had a lot of hair all over his pillow, his shirt, and whatnot. It kind of looked like he'd petted a long-haired cat. You know, when you have all that hair all over your lap, you got to get one of those lint rollers. So that signified the start of his hair loss. And so he has decided this all along, he's not sad about it, that as soon as his hair started falling out, he wanted to shave his head. So I do have a couple clips that I'll insert with those other clips of Flynn getting his hair buzzed. They were really fun about it, and they came in and they took the buzzer and they were talking about doing goofy haircuts, and he decided that he wanted it like in the movie The Grinch. I don't know if you remember when the mean mayor gives the Grinch the razor to make fun of him, and he's like, meow, and he shaves down the middle of his head. So yeah, that is that. Now today we have not had our morning rounds, but I'm pretty sure it's the same deal. His kidneys are back to functioning. He ate a little bit of food. And we're still waiting for he ended up getting another transfusion yesterday. You guys, I think he's had 3 or 4 transfusions. And they're not just of blood. Sometimes they're platelets, sometimes they're plasma. And the fact of the matter is those are clues that his bone marrow is not doing its job, because the bone marrow is where you make your blood. And if he's running out of red blood cells or platelets or plasma, that means he's not making his own yet. Okay, that is the update, and let's get ready to talk a little yarn. Okay, here comes the yarny portion. Now, since being here, I have started doing the free your fade pattern. I bought this quite a long time ago, and I bought the yarn for it at a yarn convention in Chicago, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I have started it a few times, but my big problem with knitting is I cannot fix mistakes. Now, I have gotten better that when I'm knitting a hat and I drop a stitch, I've been able to go down one row, pull it up, and truck along. So I've pulled out free your fade 3 times. So I thought, while I'm here, I will knit slowly and carefully and do free your fade. And so this is how far I have gotten. I'm actually kind of like, I don't want to say disappointed, but I think it's kind of narrow. So this up to right about here, I'll hold it like that, is section 1, and it's in color 1. Section 2, if you can see that dark brown or dark blue spots coming through there, is where you integrate yarn color 2, color B, right? So I'm going to lay this here. You have this numbering system where you do 2 of B, 4 of A, which I didn't like because now I had to cut my yarn. I'm going to have to weave in some ends. 2 of B, 2 of A, 2 of B, 2 of A, 4 of B, 2 of A. So I'm trucking along. I'm to the final section because I'm still writing my little things on a Post-it. I'm in my final row of A, about to switch permanently to B, and I have a casualty. I'm trucking along and I notice that I have a missed stitch. So I'm trying to find it. And I end up going what was one row. What I think happened is I didn't, when I was, because I'm a thrower when I knit, when I threw over the hook or the needle, I didn't have it in the right place and I just slid the stitch over. I didn't actually knit it. And while I was digging for it, and I actually can insert some pictures because I took a lot of pictures of this sad situation right here. So as I was digging for it, I ended up pulling out maybe 4 rows of stitches because I couldn't find the stitch. Part of the other problem is that because this yarn changes colors, it's not consistent across. And the only way I know how to fix things is like how when I'm knitting a hat, I just pull up that one stitch. So I've ended up fixing it, but as you can see here, if you can, I think the missing stitch still is somewhere here, and then I have this nasty little knit. And you can see it on this side. Now, there's 2 things that can be done here. One, I could just proceed, because it's not like anybody will know, right? We've said that time and time again. Plenty of people in different crochet groups or whatnot will post like, oh, I have this little row mistake all the way down here. And they're like, no one will know. But I spent $60 some on this yarn because this is bougie, Malabrigo, fingering, sock yarn, blah, blah, blah. And so I want it to be perfect. Also, to some degree, I want to learn how to fix those stitches. So my plan is this. After spending hours, I'm not kidding you, hours trying to fix it, I put it aside and I am going to scour the hospital to see if I can find any knitter. And I'm not afraid to ask, because I mean, the nurses know, the last 4 nurses know that they need to find me a knitter. And then if I can't find the knitter, The next time I go home, I'm going to contact one of my knitting buddies. And I'm going to ask them, most likely. Because my stepmom will be off in Minnesota visiting my sisters, and she won't be able to help me. So that is the knitting project. Now, since I can't work on this anymore, I've had to put it aside. These are the two colors that I'm working with. This was color A, and this is color B, and color C is going to be mostly blue. Because I have retired this situation here, I now started a chapstick holder for Maddie, which I'm done. I had made this little thing here to go on top of it to be like a flower, but my husband says it looks inappropriate. So I think I'm going to come right back here and knit or crochet a flap that folds up over, and then eventually I'll get her a button. And yeah, Flynn's being ruckusy over here. So I'll do that. And then I started another hat. Oh, you guys, also, you know what was terrible? So I have in my little bag, I keep these little bags of knitting needles that I use for my hats. This is the one that I use when I'm using bulky yarn. And this is the one that I use when I'm using worsted weight yarn. And these are the tiny little knitting needles that I use to close up when I'm working with worsted weight yarn. And I usually keep those in here, and then I keep these in here. Well, at some point, I switched. I know, it's terrible, you guys. And I accidentally put the knitting needles that belong in this one, in this case, and these ones in that case. And the reason that it matters is because these knitting needles, as you can see, are blunt. And sometimes getting that first row done with these blunt needles is hard. So I decided, while I'm here in the hospital, that I was going to order myself a pair of lace tip Addy Rockets. I know. And so I took the package that I had them in, and because I'm not an experienced knitter, I just was like, oh, I'll just order what it says right here on the packaging. Well, you guys, because I'm having them in the wrong one, I got these. The exact same ones that I had before. The ones for the bulky. Because I'm just not experienced enough to know that US 11 is fat and US 8 is what I need for worsted. Obviously, I know when I'm knitting or when I'm crocheting that I'm going to need a 4, 4.5, or 5, maybe a 5.5 for worsted weight yarn. And that anything bigger would be for bulky yarn. But because I'm knitting and I'm in the hospital and I'm stressed and who all knows what else, because I had my worsted weight knitting needles in my bulky baggie, I now have 2. And can I just tell you, these Addy knitting needles on Amazon are $20. That's a lot. Even a Clover crochet hook is in the $5 to $10 range. If you get one of those bigger hooks, sometimes they're a little bit more. But these are $20. So I have now put in the cart another knitting needle. And I'm just like, now I'm trying to decide. Do I need those lace tips? Is this something that I'm going to die about? I mean, I've made 50 or more hats, probably more, closer to 60, with these blunt knitting needles. Do I need to have them pointy? I don't know. Probably not. It would just make things easier. I don't know. Is it $20 worth of easy? I have not decided. So that is where I'm at. I don't think there's any hats here that I had finished prior to. I think the last thing that I had talked to you guys about was starting the Free or Fade, which I've done, and now I've messed up. So I'm on a pause. I am on a pause. And all these extra hats I'm knitting, I'll just save them for next year's second graders or put them in the hat bin, because when I get out of this hospital with Flynn, I will go back to school probably in February. And if you don't know, living in Wisconsin, winter can last until April. So we'll have plenty of hat months available, and second graders lose their hats all the time. Yeah, so that is the plan. Our estimated room change day is 12/18, and I am still hoping and praying that we can get out of here by the 22nd, which is a Friday. The 23rd is a Saturday, and I doubt anybody will check us out on a Saturday. Christmas Eve is the 24th. I don't know if anybody will check us out then. And I really, really want to be home for Christmas. But obviously, Flynn's health is more important. I get that. You know, sometimes people like to say that. And I know that. But I also think there's some kind of health about being home together. Okay. So now that is the update on Flynn. That's the update on this hospital situation. And that is the update on my crochet and knitting. Now I'm going to insert some pictures, maybe a clip of Flynn's hair, bald head situation. Flynn, are you okay if I put pictures of you with your bald head?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine with it. Good. Here, let's see if you can see him way over there. Flynn, you want to look up and say hi to everyone? Okay, so that's the end of the talking portion of the video. I'll insert some clips. Thanks everybody for your thoughts and prayers. Thank you for those of you that emailed me and were wondering what was happening. That is what was happening. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye. So they're disinfecting this room. See, it looks like a tanning bed in there. Kind of cool. So we have some guys out here for the first time since we've moved to this room. Looks like they're gonna go do some work. Man, that's crazy. I mean, it's not super high, but I can't even climb up a ladder. So that should be entertaining for today. No helicopters the last couple of days. That's the helicopter pad up there. So that's good, I think, overall. Yeah. So that is the view out the window. Work, work, work for them. So Flynn's had a rough couple days and he has spent most of today sleeping, but they do have this webinar thing that we can sign up for, and it is a holiday lights parade. So we got a couple minutes before it starts. I know he's not awake, but maybe he can hear it and enjoy it. I don't know. So the parade finally started on the computer. This is Flynn and I's Christmas parade this year. Which of course he's sleeping through. Kind of cool, I guess. It's really thoughtful that these people all are driving by with their light displays. So that's really nice that they're all doing that. So they're trying to get Flynn to go to the bathroom, and so they have set up this shot train of Marilax mixed with Gatorade. And he's got to take this one little pill. And then they've spaced these out, I think, every 10 minutes, a shot of Marilax Gatorade. That brown pill makes him poop, and that capsule and that little one are supposed to be for his liver. As you can see, he still has hair. Lots of it. Doing well.
Sometimes, so.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Wait, not yet, not yet.
You want one straight down the front right away?
Straight down the front.
Straight down the front right
like
away.
Just,
Or
yeah.
the back.
Oh, no, wait. I want to do, like, funny haircuts before.
Funny haircuts?
Yeah.
Do you
then
want,
take
like,
pictures.
a mohawk? So this is left in the middle for now,
Oh,
or
yeah.
straight down the middle?
Straight down the middle.
You want me to just do one right down the middle?
Yeah,
Okay.
one
Okay.
right down the middle.
Might look like an old man with some left on the side.
Okay, look up a little bit so she can get a good...
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Does that tickle?
No, it's just. Ah.
It's looking good.
You know, like in The Grinch,
Oh yeah.
he does that too.
Right down the middle. There. Now you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, get all the pictures.
That's something.
So.
It is something. Kind of looks like you have little antennas.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Okay.
down in the back.
Oh, my hairs look like they're gray.
I really look like an older man.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll do the
There you go.
Snapchat. Hey, say hi to Dad.
Hi, Dad.